Tonight at 11.
Doom! It's a plan! And I'm angry! I'm not a slave! I've broken the conditioning! It doesn't work on me! I'm primitive, I'm real, I know the enemy, and if we can have this spirit of normal humanity spread, it's over for the globalist! Break the conditioning now! Excuse me.
This is not the InfoWars Nightly News, where the answer to 1984 is not $19.95 plus shipping and handling, but the answer is to try and understand the double-barrel bullcrap, the double-speak, and the Orwellian wonderland we now find ourselves in. So sit back and relax as I take you through a real alternative look at the news and so-called alternative media alike. Enjoy.
Clips.
Alrighty, BoobTubes, another one of Kip's Clips. Let's see if I can genuinely remember how to do this thing. I'm not even joking. I don't know if I'll be able to remember how to do it, but I'm sure I will muddle through. So, I don't know how the audio is. It should be alright, but if it's not, sue me. I've not had a chance to try it and stuff. I've been busy fighting with a lawnmower today. The lawnmower won. So, unless I can't be... Unless I've got a better offer or something else to do, I'm going to do a wee BeNEWSment, a BBC BeNEWSment at 6 every night. I've not paid attention to the news so much that my hairdresser had to fill me in on what was happening in the world today, which is mental. Had to tell me about the fucking squad of Jihad Allah Akbar nut bars in Vienna, I believe. After the Allah Akbar nut bars in France. And the fact that we're not allowed to drink alcohol in the UK, right? In Scotland right now. No. Take away the ability to have a drink. Very hard to ask somebody out on a date. Not impossible, but very hard. Anyway, so a few of you will know what the BBC BeNEWSment's all about. Watch the news and interject and play devil's advocate with the BBC's version of reality. Just like you can do with the version of reality that's pumped out with the interwebs and stuff like that as well. But I'm getting a bit allergic to the interwebs and stuff. I'm allergic to the BBC. But let's dismantle it, laugh at it, mock it, have fun with it. Why not? Right, so let me see if I can remember how to do this. No, I can't. What am I forgetting? Oh, turn the volume up. That would help. That's always a Brucey bonus.
Today at 6, the deadly attacks in Austria's capital. Authorities say the gunman was an Islamist terrorist. Eyewitness footage shows people fleeing as the gunman opened fire in 6 different locations in central Vienna. Police say he was shot dead.
Is there any Allah Akbar nut bars that aren't known to the security services? You know, it's like I often go to explain terrorism to a child, and a child can't grasp the fact that people, to further their cause, will go out there and blow people up because do you know why? It doesn't make any sense because it doesn't further their cause. which begs you the question, who the hell is orchestrating all these windy-licking idiots to go out and fucking do this crap?
Dead within 9 minutes.
Pro bono, who benefits?
But in that time, 4 people were killed and over 20 injured. The Austrian Chancellor has led the tributes. There's mounting concern across Europe, and this evening the UK terror threat level has been raised.
The big mighty. It's a big price, but it's worth it. I've not smoked any tobacco, not a bong, not a pipe, nothing that's touched a flame for over 2 months now. I've turned into a vaping hipster.
Also tonight, Liverpool will be the first to get citywide COVID testing, with some results within an hour. The rest of us could get it by Christmas. Voting is underway across America. It could be the biggest turnout in a century. Biden versus Trump.
It could be, maybe, possibly up to the most divisive Royal Rumble ever! Royal Rumble 2020, y'all!
One of the most bitter and divisive election campaigns in living memory. We'll be reporting.
I'm going to, in fact, if I've got time tonight, I'm meeting a new friend. So I might not have time, but I'm meeting a new friend. If I've got time, I'm going to check out the odds. I'm going to stick money on Trump winning. Trump's got it in the bag, man. He's not finished with China yet. He's not finished smashing China up yet. He's still got some Trump kung fu moves to do.
Reporting from Washington, from Pennsylvania and Florida. A story of survival against the odds. The young girl found after 90 hours under the rubble of Turkey's deadly earthquake.
Also this hour, the last-minute rush for Londoners and businesses ahead of this week's lockdown.
Oh, bastard. I was hoping you'd get the Scottish news, just to confuse people.
Will tell you the results.
And thank God my back wasn't actually broken. Just fucked. But a wee bit of stretching, a couple of packs of cocodamol. In the room with the doom.
Good evening and welcome to the BBC's News at 6. The Austrian Chancellor has described last night's attack in the capital as an act of barbarism. 4 people were killed and nearly 24 injured when a gunman, described as an Islamist
only 4 people killed.
Authorities,
somebody told me there was a squadron walking down the street, fucking with all AKs and all that.
Took place in the city centre.
They must have been really windy-like bastards if they only managed to kill 4 people.
Before another coronavirus lockdown. Our correspondent Jenny Hill is in Vienna for us tonight. Jenny.
Yes, Vienna has long enjoyed a reputation as a safe city, immune to the kind of Islamist terrorism that's torn through so many other European capitals. Last night, all that changed when a young man who police say was armed with a
punk. I blame my hairdresser, but in fairness, I did ask for it extra short because up here we're going to get locked down. Anything Bojo can do, Sturgeon can do better. Oh, let's see the scenes of terror.
Fled as shots were fired and armed police raced
beautiful.
to secure the city.
No, don't look at a breast.
It was the eve of a corona lockdown.
Couple kissing.
Many had gathered
before
for a last
time or
night
whatever,
out
but here,
in a
let's
city
just look
with a
at pure
reputation for safety.
Just heard shots everywhere, and the police, the helicopters were flying around us, and we got really afraid, so we decided to hide ourselves in the restaurant.
Caught on camera, a man thought to be the perpetrator. This rabbi told us he'd looked out of his window to see him shooting, apparently at random.
I saw the attacker with a
Did they attack a synagogue? Is that what they're
rifle
saying?
or a gun?
Were they going after Jews?
Running around, shooting at people, targeting people, sitting outside the bars and pubs, which are lined along the street.
Just days after terror attacks in France, another country mourns its dead. Among the victims, an elderly man and woman, a young passerby, and a waitress. Others.
My God, this is all flooding back to me. Why I actually fucking stopped watching this pish. All flooding back. Painfully flooding back. You know, it's an absolute rinse and repeat cycle of doom. And it's the same shit, innit? Allah Akbar, not bars, fucking knifing and shooting people. And then the news pumping those images right into your head. And then telling you how stinky the refugees are.
Are in hospital, critically injured. The hunt for suspects continues. Detectives have made several arrests, but attention's focused on the 20-year-old gunman shot dead by police last night.
The shooter was born in Austria. He has a migration background from northern Macedonia, and he was in prison because he's a supporter of the Islamic State. But of course we will have to find out the details in the next days.
Vienna's streets quiet today. Fear and corona have brought the city centre to a near standstill. But Moritz, a doctor, told us he felt compelled to do something.
It's really hard to show that you're grieving because nobody should be outside. And I want to grieve, I want to show sympathy.
As you'd expect, there's shock here, there's disbelief, but there's also a sense of resignation. This has become
definitely
a
an
depressingly
elf
familiar
Middle-earth.
scenario
Check
for
those
Europe.
ears
A
out,
city
man.
centre, streets which felt safe, transformed in a matter of minutes. The question for Austria now is this: will last night's attack change the country? And if so, how?
Well, I'm going to imagine
For now,
maybe
though,
like
a quiet defiance.
it'll move ever so slightly just to the right.
Last night, as violence raged outside,
People are
members
going
of the
to want
city's
a
Philharmonic Orchestra
hard-nosed,
were trapped in their concert hall.
no nonsense
They chose,
leadership.
quite simply, to play on. Jenny Hill, BBC News, Vienna.
Well, this afternoon, the government raised the terror threat level here in the UK to the second highest level. Our security correspondent, Frank Gardner, is with me. Frank, what's the thinking behind the government taking this action here?
It's a precautionary measure, they're saying. The decision was taken by something called JTAC, which is the Joint Terrorism Analysis Centre that sits inside the MI5 building.
stabbing
really, from the moment
and
this attack
Akbar nut
happened,
bars in
they
France
started
and Austria.
analysing it and thinking, what
Then we're
does
just
this
going
mean
to
for the UK?
flash a red light at
And
you
they
saying,
looked at the
alert,
attacks that have happened in
alert.
France, in Nice, in north of Paris, and now in Austria, and decided that it's time to move
I
the
don't
terror
know if I'm
threat
going to
level up
subject myself to
from
the news every
being
fucking
likely
day,
to
honestly, man.
highly
It's-
likely. Now, what difference is that going to make to
it's
you and me and most of us?
uncomfortable just
Not a
sitting
great deal.
even
It'll
pretending
increase
to
the
listen,
security
yeah.
around some buildings. But the fact is that we are in quite a dangerous period right now, because often these attacks have copycat effect. They can also provoke attacks from the other side, from far-right extremists who will want to take some sort of revenge. And all of this is against the backdrop of a continual
Who's gonna
exhaustion
win WrestleMania
by
2020?
ISIS and Al-Qaeda to their followers to carry out attacks for what they see as
But we defeated
as an
ISIS and
ongoing
Al
assault
Qaeda,
on
and
their
then they get
religion.
resurrected
So
every
these are
time an
dangerous times.
Akbar nutbar does something.
Thanks very much.
So confused.
Now, when the Prime Minister announced the
even
new
stay on message
coronavirus
with their
lockdown
bullshit.
over the weekend, we were all shown a chart which suggested there could be up to 4,000 deaths a day if no action was taken.
Shown
Today,
a bit
the
of paper
government's
that
chief
said there could
scientific
be
advisor, Sir Patrick
maybe
Vallance, has
up to
defended his
save
use
you
of that
$1
study
billion.
after MPs criticised him for being alarmist. Our science editor, David Shupman, reports.
It's the risk of the health service being overwhelmed that suddenly changed government policy. A decision based on scientific projections for how many thousands the virus might kill in the coming months. But looking at this official graph,
But looking at the projections, ignoring the fact the previous projections were completely off base, it's just like always referring to polls after the polls actually never accurately fucking poll. It's almost as if news organisations use the polls as a way of nudging the public in one particular direction or not, or to mobilise one side, the left or the right, to get out on vote because the other side's going to beat you. I mean, I don't know if people think deep enough about election time and what is good for one side or not. Like, for example, see Trump. See the news that's getting pumped out over in America right now that's saying Biden's ahead in the polls. Do you know who that's good for? Trump. Because see all his supporters, they'll be wetting their knickers hearing that. They'll be like trying to get their cat, their dog, their lobotomised fucking Uncle Billy Bob to go and vote and everything. You know, yeah, you need to vote. The Biden's ahead. Right, and same for the other time. Like, I don't know. I think it's naive and ignorant to think that people aren't propagandized and manipulated with their own side when it comes to elections. Like, again, like I was talking about the terrorism there. Who's organising these windy licking fucks, Al Akbar nutbars, to go and do what they're doing? Because every time you get one of these people, they're fucking idiots, aren't they? The IQ's down to their fucking morons, right? Well, number one, they're fucking ball deep in religion, which means that they're kind of easily swayed fucking first place. And number two, they've been under surveillance with the Western fucking security apparatus for day daw since they fucking bounced into the West. And surprisingly get let out every fucking time. And who benefits? I mean, if we don't have any Al Akbar nutbars doing this shit in our country, just imagine, right, the Al Akbar nutbars weren't even fucking over here doing the shit that apparently they're doing, right? What leg would the far right and the even just the right, just the power shift that's happening in more or less all Western countries to the right, those entities, they benefit. They don't have a leg to stand on. If we're all singing Kumbaya and love and peace and whatnot, people aren't fucking wetting their knickers over like brown people in boats coming over here. You know what I mean? Because they don't perceive them as like an invading army. I don't believe that to be true, but I see people fucking believing that to be what's happening. And again, I think it's orchestrated. But anyway, let's get back to the news.
What are the real chances of the worst scenario being right?
As the chief
What are the real chances?
That's the question that MPs raised today, putting the government
9 out of 10 cats
on the
agree
spot.
that this possibly could be up to...
Who do not have your scientific background and understanding of models are not...
Well, I hope not. I mean, I think I hope not, and that's certainly not the aim. It's very difficult to project forward in a way that doesn't inevitably lead to a problem of, is that real? No, it's not real. It's a model, but it is what we need to understand, because this is a disease which is spreading, like all epidemics, in a way that will affect us in weeks to come, but isn't felt today.
Some of the projections for future deaths were made before the regional 3-tier system had any effect. And like any computer models, they're meant to be a guide
Not as
to
good
what
as Scotland.
might
We've got
happen,
5
rather
tiers.
than a firm prediction. So is there a clear sense of the impact of the virus? Today we got the latest figures for what are called excess deaths. That's deaths above average, shown on this line here, based on data over the last 5 years. Back in April, losses were massively
Right, so
above
pretty much
that
fuck all.
average line, and
So this
nearly all
second
of them
spike
were because
that's
of
meant to be happening
COVID-19.
hasn't
Looking
happened.
more
Although we're
recently,
getting told
there are
with the
signs of
oh,
another
God,
increase in deaths above average, and the main cause is COVID. The number of hospital admissions is the key indicator of what's happening right now, and whatever the arguments over future scenarios, there's a warning that...
Right. God, let's go back to my conspiratardom days, man. For ages I was saying, like, basically we were in World War III, because you've seen, like, the geopolitical struggles that were going on all around the world. And this has continued. In fact, Trump turned it up to 11! And he's conducting it from Twitter. You know, he's cut out the fucking middleman in the war games. And in war... I made this up myself. I didn't steal it from a meme on the internet and then just rhymely repeat it without trying to understand it. No. It's not me. But in war, the first casualty is truth, right? That's why the BBC drives me nuts. That's why every time I've tried to fucking tune back into YouTube, I'm like, I can't do this. It's hurting my fucking brain. It's breaking my zen. I mean, even listening to this pish, it's fucking... I've been this fucking angry for months, or since the last time I turned on this fucking camera. Anyway, look at the big... I think somebody just shot somebody. Look at that big cock in the background. And the foreground. Anyway, so... I was talking about the first casualty of war being the truth. And this pandemic, and this virus... Some might want to call me an Illuminati because I fucking think it's there. I think it's naive not to understand it's real. But what's happening, but this is my humble belief, is the pandemic is getting used as a political football at everything. So it's getting used as the two sides in the American election are trying to use it as leverage. Over here in the UK, it's trying to get used as leverage between the left and the right as well, And do you remember when Corduroy Corbyn, you remember all the bullshit he was spewing out when he came into power? Oh, a different way of doing politics. Oh, I've got a letter here from Bob from Birmingham. Fucking bojo, man. I mean, anybody with any fucking knowledge of politics knew that he was unelectable in this country. Right, and not to mention that he was a member of the Fabian Society whose emblem is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Right, I'm going to argue he was a wolf in a fucking cardigan, right? He was put there as like a damp squib. He was put there as like the false messiah. He was put there to allow one of the most hated leaders to ever lead this country get into power. I've worked it out at the time, man. About 12 million votes or something that prick only could muster. Anyway, let's listen to Biden.
A quirky tradition of US elections is that the first place to vote is the small village of Dixville Notch in the mountains of New Hampshire. At midnight, the polling station opened. It closed a few minutes later.
All in favor? Aye.
Did we get a result tonight?
I'm a lifelong Republican, voting for Joe Biden for president.
And that, in a nutshell, will decide this election. How many people feel like that?
One can put one here, one can put one here.
In the oldest political slogan in the book, is it time for a change or 4 more years? But divided America is bracing for unrest, whether here in the nation's capital, the shishi shops of Rodeo Drive.
Yay! Nothing says democracy quite like boarding up fucking shops. Yeehaw! Right, that fucking democracy. Woohoo! How do you like that democracy? Then you'd get the yeehaw. You-ha Americans go, it isn't a democracy, folks. It's meant to be a republic. Welcome, well, say hello to my big AR-15.
Clive Myrie is in the key battleground state of Pennsylvania.
Battleground!
I'm
going to come down there. I'm going to... WrestleMania 2020.
Yeah, hi there, George. If you look at all the paths, or pretty much most of them, running towards the White House, then victory for Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Most of those roads run along the main streets here of Pennsylvania. So this is a keenly watched state, not least by the lawyers. And with more than 2.5 million absentee ballots still to be counted, and that process only began this morning, then it could be some time before either man knows whether or not they've won.
America is unnerved, but energized. The mining of votes by the campaigns is now over on this election day. And Norb Dotzel, who helps run a family quarry business in rural Pennsylvania, is adamant.
Trump fan.
He'll vote in person. He doesn't want to risk a mail-in ballot, despite coronavirus.
Good, good. Bottom line is you just don't trust it.
I don't trust him. No. I don't trust him. No. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. I just want to know. I'm going to go do it the way I always did it.
This is the craziest fucking weird thing I'm noticing right now, right? The majority of people, vast majority of people of all ages, of all demographics, are now in this crazy cloud cuckoo fucking fairy tale land created by this fucking left-right fight that's going on. The land I was in fucking 5 to 10 years ago. And now I feel like I'm Hustonia is the only bastion, the only bit of land that fucking I can see sense from. And everybody's just fucking like joining the WWF, and everybody's just fucking left or right, let's fight, and just engaging it. They're getting sucked in. It's a bit like it's hard not to get sucked in. I mean, the more of this pish I watch, you get sucked in. You like, it's human instinct, innit? It's like if you're at the gladiatorial games, you're going to have a favourite.
Pennsylvania last week. A Democrat, she believes Donald Trump in suggesting without any evidence that postal ballots are susceptible to wide-scale fraud, is trying to steal the election.
I think he wants his people to turn out in big numbers.
See, she's not a conspiracy theorist
people
either.
Like me, of younger people, voting, or maybe people who weren't able to get to the polls on election day. He wants to delegitimize those people.
Thank God I held my own elections and
voice.
decided to put all this down.
Norb Dotzel and his 84-year-old father make their way to the polls.
Yeah.
Like millions of others today, in what is a sign of America's democratic strength.
Democratic strength with the boarding up of the...
on both sides are watching closely, especially in crucial swing states like this. A sign that weakness might also lurk at the heart of the American idea. Clive Myrie, BBC News in Pennsylvania.
So how does the US election work, and when are we likely to get a result? Well, firstly, a candidate can win the most votes nationally but still lose the election. That's because the US has what's known as an electoral college voting system. To be elected president, a candidate must win at least 270 electoral college votes. Each state gets a certain number of these votes, mainly based on its population. The most populous state, California, gets 55 votes and tends to vote Democrat. Others vote Republican. Tennessee, for example, which is smaller and has only 11 electoral college votes up for grabs. So the contest is fought hardest in the so-called swing states, seen here in purple. And one of the first indications we'll get of how the night's going will be when the result comes through from one of those key states, Florida, for instance. Nomia Iqbal is in Miami for us. So what's the mood you're getting?
It's excitement on both sides. More than 9 million people have already voted here in Florida, George, and there's many more yet to go. The First Lady, Melania Trump, has already voted this morning, and the last polling station closes in around about 7 hours' time. But the state laws here in Florida means that the ballots are already been counted. So as you say, we will get an early sense this evening of how this presidential race is shaping up. Donald Trump has a mansion here. He votes here, and unless he wants to retire here in January, he needs those 29 electoral college votes that Florida has to offer. It's a lot simpler for Joe Biden. If he wins Florida tonight, it's more or less guaranteed that he will get the keys to the White House.
And thank you, Nomia. Well, you can join us tonight for our US election special results programme from 11:30 p.m. on BBC One, the news channel, and iPlayer. There will also be results coverage across BBC Radio. And the time is 18 minutes past 6. Our top story this evening. The Austrian Chancellor has described last night's attack in the capital as an act of barbarism. 4 people were killed when a gunman fired into crowds of people in 6 different locations.
Only 4,
While
but
we've been on air, the Islamic State has claimed responsibility. And still to come,
unless you're like
why
lobotomised
sports
windy
bodies are
lickers,
warning about the impact of coronavirus restrictions on children's physical and mental health.
And later at 6:30, how one borough is using its own contact tracing system, saying it can reach more people locally. And the mayor confirms plans to close City Hall and relocate east to save money.
It's giving me the London shit.
Now, Liverpool is to become the first city in the UK to trial a new coronavirus testing programme. From Friday, anyone will be able to get a test.
God, man, this is... Somebody's already shared a video with me where, like, a guy for Liverpool fighting the New World Order, wetting his knickers over this shite, man, you know? It's like, I don't know about you, right? See this track and trace pish? See the fact the government couldn't even get that together? Does it not tell you something? Right, everybody's happy to fucking use Google and Facebook and YouTube and all that shit and never gives a fuck. But the government... And the government can't even organise a track and trace app or implement it or even track and trace people. A bunch of idiots. Or is that what they want us to think?
Still infect others.
It's hard. Oh, Liverpool testing everybody. Right. They're not forcing anybody to get tested. They're making it available. Right? Now, to not be an expert, if you're not an expert and don't understand all that shit, man, at least for 1 second consider the opposite side of the story might have it right because you're no expert, you know? And then at that point, rather than thinking somebody's trying to entrap you or tag you or New World Order or fucking hijack you or whatever, you understand it's just somebody with another fellow human being with a different point of view from you, and people have came to those conclusions genuinely, and not to bring in usher in the New World Order. Oh man,
city will be a logistical challenge. The army will once again help, as it did during the first wave of the pandemic.
They'll be there delivering things like logistics,
knickers.
planning, command and control, and making sure that such a very large-scale test, track and trace operation is done in a way that the military are used to and in a way that can deliver at pace and at scale.
Even a citywide testing programme won't be enough to stop COVID in its tracks. The basics, washing your hands, wearing a face covering, maintaining social distance, remain the best way to stop the spread of the virus. And there are big questions about how many people are going to want to self-isolate if they're not showing any symptoms.
Is the amount of cases in Liverpool just about to go through the roof? As they
potentially means missing out on work and the pay that will bring.
I need to
In a city that has seen some of the highest number of COVID cases in the UK, the big question is whether more testing will help slow or even reverse the spread of the virus and help keep places like St Margaret's free from infection. Dominic Hughes, BBC News, Liverpool.
Now, with just 2 days to go before the introduction of a 4-week lockdown in England, businesses are bracing themselves for more economic hardship after the summer reprieve. Our business editor, Simon Jack, has been speaking to business owners in Tring in Hertfordshire, currently a Tier 1 area, to gauge their mood.
June feels like ancient history for business owners. Which reduces capacity, presumably?
Considerably.
Okay.
I'm going to rudely interrupt that broadcast to bring you this little nugget. Now, as I do this, I understand that Sky News is Rupert Murdoch, and by hook or by crook, he'll put out stuff that will benefit Donald Trump and his clique. I'm going to argue, right? But this shit confuses the fuck out of me, right? Now, a lot of people are just going to jump on this and go, look, look what I told you, herd immunity, well, I did right back then and all that, right? This can equally as much bullshit or there to provoke that exact reaction as much as the other side is trying to push their pish, right? But I just found this uber interesting.
For many in South Africa, the global pandemic has come and gone. The people of Europe may be living under tough new restrictions, but some residents in Johannesburg are feeling less restrained.
Life is better now than last month, like since May, June, July.
4 months ago, a massive outbreak swept through this country, infecting hundreds of thousands of people. Then, quite unexpectedly, the level of infection plummeted. Scientists were puzzled. Some were using masks and social distancing, but it didn't explain the drop.
The only biologically plausible way for this virus to have subsided is that there's been some sort of herd immunity that's been reached, but in the context of the use of non-pharmaceutical interventions.
In June, scientists started testing for the virus in blood samples given at local clinics, and they were stunned by what they found. In Cape Town, up to 44% of those tested had been infected with the virus.
Were you surprised by the data? I'm totally surprised. And even the model.
Not really, because they're all staying in shanty towns and there's no really much social distancing in fucking shanty towns. You know, and especially when it travels in the toilet and the gutter and the toilet is like going through the fucking streets, you know what I'm saying?
To accelerate the spread
the people
of
living
COVID-19.
in shit and
Social
piss
distancing
and
proved
filth
impossible
and
in
sewage
many densely populated districts.
Seems to
The
have
strict
achieved
level 5 lockdown in this country was basically a
herd immunity.
failure. It didn't seem to stop the spread of COVID-19 at all. But that failure had a completely unexpected benefit, which has left South Africa in a much better position now. Professor Mahdi believes 12 to 15 million people may have developed some immunity through repeated exposure to the virus. And that may help South Africa avoid a second wave.
Nothing
if the
says
rate
like
of
a nice
infection
street
does
than a
spiral,
goat going through the
we wouldn't
rubbish.
recommend a
Woo-hoo,
strict
that meat's going to taste.
The
Mwah!
response needs to be much more nuanced rather than just simply.
You know, you've heard that
believing
Wagyu
that
beef?
a level 5 or highly restrictive
It's
lockdown
called
is going to get rid of
fucking
the virus. Under no
garbage.
circumstances
It's called
is a lockdown on
rubbish
its own
goat.
going to achieve elimination of the virus.
In South Africa, at least, there are some who are ready to
South
celebrate
Africa will be
a return
holding
to
charity
relative
concerts for us
normality.
soon.
John Sparks, Sky News, Johannesburg.
Soon it'll be them turning into, soon it'll be them running an apartheid state, but it'll be keep away the fucking Europeans, stinky Europeans with their coronavirus. Anyway, I just found that uber interesting, man. Make up of what you want. Remember, it's come from Sky News, which is Rupert Murdoch, right? So do not forget that little fact. But it just bamboozles me, right? And there's the news.
Visited this pub in Tring, Hertfordshire, as people.
We've got children that is coming up to Christmas. You know, our income's massively.
Oh man, it's a crying
The
shame.
impact on kids' physical and mental health, and adults too.
Cram them, pack them into the classroom, let them read their books and lick the windies. But don't let them play football outdoors, y'all. I mean, it's the inconsistencies. Like, you know, like, what I notice is frustrating most people, right? It's the lack of consistency with their bullshit. People could handle a lockdown and whatnot if it was consistent across the board. If it wasn't like, alright, your businessmen can still make fucking business trips. We're going to have a regional, system, and coincidentally, all the fucking posh, tough fucking areas where all the fucking hoity-toity motherfuckers stay. Tier 1, go and do what you want, everything's open, woo woo, and all your fucking slum inner city areas are all fucking the highest tier or pretty much lockdown as you can. Yeah. It's these inconsistencies and like the illogical approach that I found is pissing most people off, you know. But hey ho. Right, anyway.
And sport in schools has been...
And the miracle's been repeated. Now with Helen Willett. Hello, Helen.
Right, all done. Right, thanks for joining, everybody. There's a wee a BBC BeNEWSment at 6, because it does leave you quite bemused as to what the fuck is going on, you know, like, hide in your houses in case you get the virus. Here's Johannesburg, the shanty towns, and all these poverty-stricken people who live in fucking raw sewage. They seem to be immune. Good few thousand of them died, I think, or however many of them died. But hey, they're now got immunity. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Cha. Roberto Rhymes, how you doing, my man? Fraud and Corruption, Hugh. Thanks for joining, everybody. Seriously, if my head can take it, I'll do this every weekday at 6. And I'm going to try and find a way to get the Scottish shit after it. Just to confuse folk, just to see, like, anything Bojo can do, Sturgeon can do better. We're in tier something, I don't even know. I need to ask my hairdresser. I think we're in tier 3 just now, and anything Bojo can do, Little Hitler, Sturgeon can do better. And it's a tit-for-tat political point-scoring exercise by all sides, and they're playing political football with people's lives, and it's disgusting and horrible, you know. Anyway, tune in, thumbs it up, share it with people you might think like this on a weekday, and I will give you a wee. I hopefully catch you tomorrow. It's 10 to 6 again. Let me remember how to do this stuff. Well, I need to try and sort that out because I keep banging my stick, and not in a good way. Alright, Mick Vicker, how you doing, my man? Oh aye, let's put it out there as well. That dude, Active Patriot, I got in contact with him about going on I'm a Patriot, get me out of here. And he's happy to have me on if I'm happy to go on. I do need to sound out the waters a wee bit before that shit, man, because I'm not just walking into, just like, you know, I don't know how long it's meant to go on for, but see if it's just like hitting your head against a brick wall, or just arguing constantly for fucking days. Fuck that for a game of soldiers, you know, of genuinely, like, get better, genuinely playing, like, genuinely better things to do. Talking about that, I'm out of here. Hopefully catch you tomorrow. Thanks everybody for joining. And I'll see you all tomorrow. What button do I press? Catchies.
Cips clips.
Remember, citizens, to subscribe, hit the bell, and Jim Dawson says, you stay out of hell. Right, where's the button to stop this shit? Catchies.